Aloha everybody, today I am looking at a Sonic title that is not specifically focused on Sonic, but he does happen to be a part of it, and hey, if I'm going to look at the Mario and Sonic series, I may as well look at this series too. This is Sega's Superstars. This is a precursor to a lot of games like Sega Superstars Tennis, Sega and Sonic All-Stars Racing, and Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. So it features your favorite blue Hedgehog as well as a lot of franchises like Knights, Samba De Amigo, Space Channel 5, House of the Dead. And, it's pretty unique, pretty interesting, but the thing that makes this game really stand out is that you're not playing it with a controller. No, this one is completely motion controlled, way before the Wii came out. This game came out in 2004, sometime after Sonic Advance 3 and before Shadow the Hedgehog. Meet the PlayStation iToy. If you thought the Xbox Kinect was ahead of its time, well then you clearly never heard of this peripheral. This is a webcam that you connect to your PlayStation 2, and while you're being filmed by this webcam, you are being projected onto the screen and you are interacting with all of the gameplay that is going on TV. There is no controller input whatsoever, no buttons to be pushed. Even when you're navigating menus in PlayStation iToy games, you are using your hand. You are trying to manipulate stuff by shaking your arms all over the place. So yeah, this game came out before the Kinect. And just like every other motion-controlled piece of crap, this is a very clunky, very awful game. So Sega Superstars is basically a minigame collection. There are 12 games that you can interact with, as well as a special little feature that Sonic fans will be interested to know about. So first up is Sonic the Hedgehog's game. What do you do in this game? Well, it's basically like the special stages, where you're in a half-pipe, you're collecting rings, you're dodging spikes, and you're trying to make it all the way to the end, and collect the Chaos Emeralds along the way. Again, no button inputs. You are waving your arms to guide where Sonic will go. If you put your arm to the right, Sonic will go that way. If you go up, Sonic will go up. And to say the motion controls don't work very well is an understatement. Look, sometimes the motion controls work pretty well, sometimes it knows exactly where your hands are, and it can be fun with certain minigames. Other times, it felt like I did something, but the game just did not register that it happened. Now, some people would say that you need to increase the brightness of your room in order for the PlayStation iToy to recognize everything that you're doing. First off, I consider that a game negative. Any game that requires me to reshuffle and change how my living room is laid out to make me get extra light and extra lamps just to see what the hell I'm doing, that is a flaw. I'm not reshuffling my house just to play your video game. This is supposed to be about convenience. This is supposed to be about fun. I shouldn't have to be moving couches and getting extra lamps just to enjoy a video game. The motion controls were reading me quite fine, this game sucks. Sonic Freeriders sucked too, so don't expect Sonic Team to be the greatest motion control people in the world. So this game is pretty self-explanatory. You collect rings. There are no actual checkpoints or anything. All you have to do is make sure that you survive from start to the finish. There are Chaos Emeralds you can collect, but if you miss them, it's no big deal. You do get a special little bonus for collecting all 7. Basically, Sonic turns into Super Sonic, and then the spikes don't affect him all the way to the end of the track. So it's a great way of attracting rings to you and trying to increase your high score and whatnot. This game has 3 different difficulties, easy, normal, and hard is a crapshoot because holy shit, I cannot believe they expect you to actually react in time to how fast the spikes are coming. I can't possibly move my arm in the time that I see the spike. This game runs at a fast 60 frames per second, Sonic's going boost speed, he's ridiculously low, slow down Sonic fast, but I can't dodge spikes in hard mode, it's ridiculous. You can still beat hard mode, you can still make it to the end, but expecting me to do a non-hit run? No way. Not happening. When you beat the game on hard mode, you actually unlock a second playable character, so there are 2 playable characters in the Sonic minigame, and that second person being, of course, Shadow the Hedgehog, because Shadow's all the rage, and especially during that time period. I mean, the next game would be Shadow the Hedgehog, go figure. The music and voice samples are all reused. It's just Ryan Drummond and David Humphrey from Sonic Adventure 2. You'll hear Speed Highway and Radical Highway as the music tracks for Sonic and Shadow. And, So yeah, that's Sonic's inclusion in Sega Superstars. There is another Sonic thing in this game, though. You remember how I said at the end of Sonic Adventure 2 that we would never see a Chao Garden again? It turns out I was completely wrong. And no one in the comments section ever told me about this, so obviously no one's played Sega Superstars. But Sega Superstars has a Chao Garden! Oh yeah! You basically see an egg hatch, you rub it a few times, and then boom! The Chao comes out, and it's got the same Chao music. All of the minigames that you play in Sega Superstars earn you rings, and the more rings you get, the more items you can buy, like a TV or a stereo or a trumpet for the Chao to play. So I was like, oh my god, this game has a Chao Garden! Oh my god, it's completely motion-based! And then boredom immediately sets in once you realize that there's nothing to do with this Chao. You watch him walk around, you can pet him a few times, but that's about it. Even like the evilest of players who want to abuse the Chao and hit the Chao, you can't! I tried waving my hand at him real hard and nothing was happening. All you can seem to do is pet him. And even the loading screens leading into the Chao Garden never alluded to the fact that there was anything other than petting, and maybe he'd walk up to a trumpet and play it, or turn on a TV that he walked up to and watch it. There's no Chao Karate, there's no Chao races, and there's no way to unlock a second Chao. This is the Chao you're getting. You're not getting a red Chao, you're not getting a black Chao, you're not getting multiple Chao to watch over, or increase their abilities with chaos drives or stuff, because there are none. This is a glorified Tamagotchi, but I think even Tamagotchi's better than this. What's the point of making a Chao Garden where there's nothing to do? I just stand and watch him walk around. But I digress. It seems there was another Chao Garden after Sonic Adventure 2, and man, does it suck. So that's all the Sonic content in this game, but now let's move on to the other franchises, because there's some fun stuff in here. You know what I like? Virtua Fighter. I mean, I don't actually like the fighting series itself. I don't think it's quite as polished as Tekken or Soul Calibur or Mortal Kombat or whatnot, but this minigame is indeed pretty fun. Basically, you stand on one side of the screen and you are fighting the opponent on screen. You have to put your arms up to block when he's attacking you, and then when it tells you to attack a certain part of his body, whether it's his head, his torso, or his legs, you throw your arm towards it and it damages him. And you can end fights really quickly if you keep hitting the attack points in successive fashion. So I think this is actually pretty decent, pretty fun. I got a real big kick out of blocking people's attacks and then striking when their guard was down and stuff. In normal mode and higher, they actually start introducing stuff like counters, where instead of being an attack icon on the character, it says counter, and so you know not to hit him, because if you hit him, he will immediately counter and attack you and drain your health. Don't I look fantastic fighting these guys? Don't I look like a badass? Virtua Fighter, I got a kick out of, so I will admit that was pretty fun. There's Space Channel 5. Oh, I've always loved Space Channel 5. I mean, it's basically Simon Says. You look at what the alien is doing. If he goes up, down, up, you go up, down, up in the same rhythm that he was. And that's basically what you're doing here, but unfortunately you're doing it with your body. You're doing it with motion, and if the camera does not register that you touched a certain icon that you clearly touched, you lose. And you lose a heart from that minigame. You have to get every move right. So one little misstep, if one little move isn't registered right, you fail that minigame, and I always hate that. That's the big problem about Sega Superstars in general, as you'll see later. There are too many penalties for screwing up one little thing, and this is supposed to be like a casual thing for everyone in their family to enjoy. I mean, this is supposed to be something that you tell your friends about and go, hey, let's play Sega Superstars, we'll be standing around being dorks, it's gonna be fun. But like, anytime you get anywhere into a game, it seems like maybe 10-15 seconds later, you're already cut out, because if you screw up one little thing, oh sorry, game over. And that's just not fun.
Down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, hit, up, down, two.
I mean, I was digging Space Channel 5 when all of my moves were registering, because I felt like, this was a fun way to play Space Channel 5. But every time that I did something and it didn't count, it didn't, register, I just got more annoyed because, now I've lost a heart. I'm not going to progress any forward because I clearly did something, but the game didn't seem to think I did, even though it's seen me do it multiple times, blah. Still, you get to dance and stuff, and, Space Channel 5 does have some fantastic music. And speaking of music, there's Samba De Amigo, a musical rhythm game. And basically what you're doing is you're shaking your arms in the spots that all the balls are floating towards, like you have maracas or something. And, I love the music selection of this thing. I've never actually played a Samba De Amigo game. I've seen a lot of Samba De Amigo music from the other Sega Superstars games, but I never saw stuff like Livin' La Vida Loca. I never saw stuff like Gonna Fly Now from the Rocky movies. I mean, the music selection is just a lot of fun. I love shaking my imaginary maracas to this music. I've never had more fun dancing to Livin' La Vida Loca. This game kind of works. I don't really get how the posing mechanic works. Every time it tells you to pose, I always put my arms into the circles where they tell me to pose, but then it always seems to give me an X, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong. I'm going to bunch two of these games, Super Monkey Ball and Knight, in the same kind of category, because they both have the same kind of movements, and they're really annoying, and they don't work very well. And this is another reason why I'd rather be playing with a goddamn controller than with motion controls. Basically, in the Knights game, you're doing typical Knights gameplay. You're flying through rings, you're collecting those blue orbs, you're trying to run into those squid things. You're guiding the character by holding your arms out as if you were flying through the sky like knights. And so you have to tilt some of your body upwards in order to go left or right, and it's just really unintuitive, and your arms start to hurt after a while. Like, I was playing easy mode only, and my arms were just getting sore hanging up there for like the longest time just trying to navigate knights. And again, if you screw up a little bit, it's really hard to get your character to go up and go down, and you're still missing all the rings, and it was just so awkward and so uncomfortable to play. And then you get to the Super Monkey Ball game, and it's basically the same control scheme, except now you're going down huge slopes, you're in this little ball, you have to go really, really fast, and I swear, I just try to get one thing to register. I just want the arrow on the top to go down, so that the monkey will go faster and faster, but it won't go down, and I keep trying, and it's just so tedious to play a game like this. Knights and Super Monkey Ball are actually fun with a controller. I would recommend those series when you have a controller, but not like this, not with this horrible motion-controlled garbage. There's House of the Dead. Now, House of the Dead is pretty fun. A lot of zombies pop up, and you just want to kill them all, right? I mean, that shouldn't be so hard, but again, they come so fast. Like, some zombies literally come on screen so fast that you can't possibly react to them in time because you're focusing on all the other zombies. And then you get, like, the fat ones who you have to hit, like, 3 times in order to bring down. And again, for whatever reason, the left side of the screen was not registering for me. And that's weird, because like, it was the complete opposite with Space Channel 5. With Space Channel 5, the right side wasn't connecting with me, but now it was the left side for House of the Dead, but I kept missing zombies, and even though I kept swinging in that direction, I just was not connecting with them. And you only have like 5 or so hits until you're dead, and once you're dead, game over. Can't beat easy mode because you can't register a simple goddamn zombie. Ugh, this one looked like it had the most promise. I was going to be beating up zombies. I mean, come on. This should have been fun. Crazy Taxi, I still have not able to successfully do anything. I've tried it maybe 4 or 5 times, and here's the gimmick. The loading screens tell you that you are a customer of the Crazy Taxi, so you're trying to signal the taxi in order to get picked up. You're waving your body all over, you're screaming, because apparently there is a microphone in the iToy. So I'm screaming, I'm waving my body, and I'm trying to get the taxi to pick me up, right? I've played this 3 times. Each time I played this, the taxi did not register. It did not listen to me, and I couldn't get a goddamn ride going. Oh, that's annoying. You know, I'm shaking my body all over. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs just so the taxi will hear me. I'm looking at all the radars and stuff on the bottom, the speedometers, that tell me how loud my voice and how much my body's moving, and they're not going up any higher than I'd like them to. It's just like, oh, come on. So I couldn't get a taxi, so I couldn't get anywhere going with that one. There's Virtuous Striker. In this one, you're actually using your head and being on one side of the screen and trying to headbutt all of the soccer balls into the balloons to achieve a high score. Now, this one was actually alright, but I will say that the soccer ball seems to go wherever the hell it wants, no matter how still or how much your head is moving. Like, sometimes I would basically ram my head really hard into the ball and it wouldn't go anywhere. Sometimes I was just standing there and it would just bounce all the way upwards and stuff. And, you know, again, not an ideal way of playing a video game, but hey, at least I could get to the end and actually get a score and move on to normal and hard mode, which I can't say for a lot of these games. But, you know, if you like headbutting air, if you want to see a virtual soccer ball, bounce off your head and try and hit balloons and stuff, that one seemed to work mostly. At least it had good hit detection. It knew where my head was. Maybe it's because of my brown hair, I don't know, but, you know, at least it knew where my head was. Now, I briefly mentioned this in the Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine video, but I'm not exactly the greatest at Puyo Pop. I know a guy named Donnie who kicks ass at it, but I'm not that great at it. So I was a little bit worried going into the Puyo Pop minigame that it was going to be a little bit too puzzly and hard for me, but actually this one was like one of my favorites. Basically, they keep dumping all of these different colored Puyos, and you have 4 little containers that you want to guide them into, and so you're manipulating your body while the 2 sets are coming down in order to put them into their specific container. And I really like that because, one, the hit detection was really good. I got a big chuckle out of the fact when they first dropped on me for the first time, because I was like, oh my god, they're bouncing off my arms, they're hitting my head and stuff. And so you're just sort of like manipulating your body and guiding them to their containers. And I thought the Puyo Puyo game was really fun. That's the one I played most alongside Virtua Fighter and Sonic. There's just something really satisfactory about guiding your arm, trying to position your arms in a way that they're like a ramp so that the yellow slimes will go into the yellow container and stuff. That one was pretty fun. That one was where the hit detection seemed to really count, and it seemed to really work out pretty well. So Puyo Puyo Pop, that was a good minigame. I like that one. That was fun. Chuchu Rocket. Now, Chuchu Rocket was always a puzzle game where you're manipulating arrows and flipping their directions in order to guide these mice into the rocket ships and try and dodge all the cats that are trying to eat them, right? This minigame has no puzzling whatsoever. All you're doing is you're mashing your hands where the button switches are so that the bridges will stay up so that the mice can walk over them. And every time a cat walks over the bridge, you're expected to stop motioning so that the cat will fall through and, you know, he will go away. Because he'll actually jump over the gap if there is no bridge in the first place. So you have to wait for the cat to specifically get to the bridge and then let go so he'll drop through. All you're doing is waving your hands back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for like 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, and man, is that exhausting. I thought it was going to be like you navigate your hands to switch the arrows around. That would have been fun, just going to where all the arrows were and putting them in the right positions. But no, you're just mashing buttons so that the mice get to the rocket ship, and that's just exhausting after a while. One playthrough of easy mode was all I needed to go, no, I don't want to keep doing this with my hands. I know how to masturbate, okay, game? You don't have to teach me how to masturbate. Thank you very much. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. If you're not familiar with this game, this is a game where you control a character who pushes eggs around. And so, as you can expect, you're going to be pushing an egg around with motion controls, where you're trying to wave your hands in front of the egg and guide them and stuff. Here's the thing about this thing. You can't just put your hand there and it will register. At least not with my iToy. It wasn't registering that, you know. I couldn't be still like I could with Puyo Puyo Pop. This one, you had to keep shaking your hands left and right just to register that something was there, you know? And you have to keep both your hands on the egg in order to push it forward, but then you have to let go of one hand in order to make it move right or left. And it was so slow, it was so clunky. I was not getting anywhere fast. I was dodging like the slowest of enemies. You know, I was going for like this one little monster guy, and I just missed him just a little bit by going too far to the left. And that's when I was just like, oh, this game sucks. Like, I just hate motion controls with a passion. You know, most of these mini games are terrible. I can recommend, like, maybe 4. I can recommend Sonic, I can recommend Virtua Fighter, I can recommend Puyo Puyo Pop, and I can recommend Samba De Amigo. That's it. Every one of these minigames to me was just a tedious slog to go through where, like, none of them work, you know, I couldn't get anything going. And it doesn't matter if I get the new record or not, because when the hell am I ever going to play this again? When am I ever going to dust out Sega Superstars and the PlayStation iToy just to impress a friend, you know? It's like, oh look, I can show this to my girlfriend once and never again. And that's pretty much the whole point of Sega Superstars. It's a pretty mediocre minigame collection where nothing seems to connect right. I don't care if my lighting's not as good as it could be. This needs to be better. Why would I pay $40 plus the iToy in order to successfully have a okay time being knights, where I pretend I'm knights flying through the sky? So, you know. This was before the Kinect, ladies and gentlemen, and I still think even the Kinect is a piece of shit, but, you know, we'll see more terrible motion controls when we get to Sonic Free Riders. Oh, God, I'm not looking forward to that. But, yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, was Sega Superstars. Quite the motion-controlled piece of crap. It also has, like, one of the worst theme songs I've ever heard. Superstars, 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 superstars. Anywho, folks, that's it for Sega Superstars. Tune in next time, because we're going to be looking at Sonic the Hedgehog as a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Oh boy, the popular game. This should be interesting.